All right, welcome back, y'all, and happy Monday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. We didn't have a chance to post yesterday about the OVs, right? OV season's over with. The dead period started. I think it lasts for like the next month. But at this point, I would say probably over the next month, we should be able to figure out exactly how this class is going to look. Most of the players will be choosing. We got a couple of dates that have been set that we're going to talk about. Obviously, we're going to be recapping, who I think Tennessee did well with over the course of this weekend, who I think maybe we could have done a better job with. I'm going to show you how the class I feel like will end up looking once it's all said and done. Y'all please do us a favor, though. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we're going to start. So these would be the key losses that we've had, right, from players that have come up. So the ones up in red, they've already chose somebody else. I felt like Tennessee was in a good spot for all those guys. JJ Finch, I wasn't quite sure. I didn't think he was going to be choosing Bama, really. You know what I mean? But that's where he ended up going. So all those guys are going to be, linemen for our defense. Tennessee needs tackles. Okay, like we really need to close out on tackles in the worst way. Tristan Givens, losing him to A&M, I just feel like something that Brent Hubbs talked about. We've talked about it too. Tennessee really, I think moving forward, it would be great if we could start trying to close out on these players on these visits. But either way, we've got all these players that will be coming up, they've set their dates and they will be telling us where they're going here pretty soon. So there are some more dates, not necessarily set in stone just yet, but once they are set in stone, we will let you know. And for the players, I'm going to do my best just to try to go through and tell you who's thinking about choosing the school early next month or, like within the couple of weeks or within the next couple of weeks, excuse me. So these right here are all the players that came up on visits over the weekend. The ones in white, I feel like Tennessee's not in the best spot with. I don't think Tennessee's going to land them. If they're in dark green with those white letters, it means I think Tennessee's in a great spot for them, and we'll probably end up landing them. Light green with the black letters just means I think that Tennessee's about in second place. We have a chance to maybe close there, but we'll see what happens. All the different shades of orange just means that these players are already part of this class. And Carson Snead, he's in the light orange because I think he's not going to end up in this class. So we'll actually start off right there with Carson Snead. And, the biggest thing for me in watching his film, I've told you, I think that he's got really good size. I think he's got good speed. He's strong. And, the reason I think he's not going to end up with Tennessee is because he grew up a huge Tennessee fan, number one, in-state kid. And he chose us, but he opened things back up. Now, look, I ain't knocking nobody for that. I think that they should take their time going to visits and make sure that this is really the best place for you because this is a business decision. It's not so much about, I grew up loving this school, so that's just where I'm going to go. If they're not checking off all the boxes for you, then you should not choose that school. Now, he's been up to Tennessee several times. After this OV, he said, you know what, I've been up there so many times. Nothing's changed for me, but he didn't lock things down. So what it sounds like to me is Tennessee's done everything that we could do for him. He still hasn't locked in on us. That makes me feel like he's going to end up going somewhere else. Something else that he said that really stood out to me is he wants to go to a program that's going to help him get ready for the next level. I think Tennessee can do that, but he's already been on that level. He's coached a lot of NFL tight ends, really good ones, and I feel like Carson Snead has a lot of similarities to his game, like a Gronk. I think that, that might be his move. Obviously, his brother's already transferred there. So I hope that I'm wrong on all the players that I don't think is going to sign with Tennessee, but that's just how I see it at this point. So let's come back and let's take a look at some more of these guys. You know what? Next, I want to go to Smith. He's the cornerback. Y'all saw that he's going to be choosing actually tomorrow. Just coming out of his visit, y'all, I didn't feel like he was too much locked in. They were asking him questions, and it might just be his personality. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was tired or something. I mean, those visits you do, you don't really get to sleep too much. So maybe he was just tired, but it just didn't feel like he was too locked in. Now, the insiders have said that they feel like Tennessee might have a shot. Like I think it might have been Austin Price that came out late last night and said that late in the final hours, maybe Tennessee has a shot here. So we'll see. That'd be great. Tennessee needs to add cornerbacks to this class. I feel like he might want to play some offense. I'm just speculating there because he does play wide receiver as well. Either way, next player, Darius, he said that he's not going to be choosing until like later on in the season. So, a million different things can happen. So at this point, I can't really call it. I'm just going to say that, again, man, we need some tackles. He would be one. And so hopefully he'll end up choosing us. And then next we have Brett Colajay. The insiders were very high on him too. They said, well, we think Tennessee did a great job there. For me, I didn't take it that way. Obviously, I didn't get to actually see him in person, but I just didn't really feel like Tennessee too much moved the needle there. I think he's going to end up going somewhere else. But, hopefully not, because I think he's a really good lineman. And then we have Blair, in-state guy. I don't think he's actually from Tennessee, but either way, would love to add him at this point. I feel like it might be more like Ole Miss. And then, okay, last person that I want to talk about here is going to be Craig Tutt. Or last person with the players that I don't feel like will be coming up is going to be Craig Tutt. So I like Craig Tutt. Obviously, in-state safety. Tennessee really needs safeties. I think he's got good size. He's thick. He could come in and he could, I think, fight for some playing time early. I don't know if he's going to be able to start. My player comp for him would be Tank, right? So we saw Tank play inside of the system for a long time. I think that he did well. But the coverage thing is what Tank a little bit struggled with. I'm not going to say struggled, but I don't think that Craig Tutt's a guy that you want manned up too many times, right? He's more of an over the top or playing inside of the box, being physical, sort of a safety, doing things like this blitz, and I think that that's his game. Either way, I was focusing on what he had to say coming out of his visit last weekend to Ole Miss. And you could just tell he loved it. I think that he loved it here at Tennessee too, but the vibe was not the same. It was different. So I'm saying all those things just to say that I could definitely see him ending up with Ole Miss. And I said that, heading into this visit, I felt like Ole Miss was probably the team to beat. Sounds like Tennessee made up ground, but, he's going to take a couple more weeks and try to figure things out. I just feel like Ole Miss is where he's ultimately going to end up at. All right, so I'm going to come back to this. Let me make sure that y'all can hear me and everything's working good. If y'all can't hear me, please let me know. I'm going to get to some of these chats here real quick. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Okay, do make sure to like and subscribe if you have not already done so. That really helps us out tremendously. So this one is saying, did I watch the NBA? Okay, yeah, man. So OKC pulled it out. Happy to see that. I didn't watch too much of the game, honestly speaking. I had a lot of other things going on, which is really why we didn't get to post too much yesterday. And Patreon, we're going to be updating y'all on what we're going to be posted on YouTube there. That's just a great way for y'all to stay in contact with us. So y'all can go over there. Y'all can join for free. The audio clips and things like that we do, that's for everybody. And I also thought that that y'all could chime in with the group chats and all that if you were on the free membership. It doesn't look like that's so, but you could get the $1 membership and you can join in. We want for y'all to give us some, tell us what the next video should be on YouTube and things like that. And I'm going to keep on working to see if I can find a way where y'all can interact more through the free version. But this next one right here is from Charles, and he's saying that Tristan Gibbons is really not needed. Wow, the balls are loaded at that position. So that's interesting, and we won't talk about that too much today, but I will just say this. Tennessee's about to lose a lot of Leos. All right, so listen, Caleb Herring, he's probably going pro. Obviously, Joshua Joseph, he's going pro. We still have Jordan Ross. Who else do we have after that playing at Leo? You know what I'm saying? Like that you feel like, man, I feel really good about him. I just don't know. There's some players that I feel like are probably more strong side ends on this team. And, either way, we'll probably say that for a different video. But let me go on ahead and get back into this one. All right. So I'm going to go next to Moa with the players that I feel like Tennessee's about in second place with. So Moa, I love him, man. He's a 4-star athlete, 6'2", 190. And, he's from Utah, came into this visit. It was Michigan and Utah as his leaders. He had no idea what Tennessee was working with, right? So he was really blown away. So the same thing that I said about Craig Tutt, I pay attention to how these kids talk after different visits. And with Moa, once he came off of the Michigan visit, it was like, yeah, it was cool, but I just didn't feel like he was absolutely blown away. So Tennessee told him, hey, listen, you can play offense or defense for us, which I'm happy that they said that, because I don't know, does he want to play offense or does he want to play defense? He could definitely do both for sure, but I love him at safety. I was talking to P about this yesterday. For me, Moa is the closest thing from a talent standpoint, on the field standpoint, to like a Jensen Jackson. I think that they're very similar. He's a guy that's kind of like long and wiry. He'll thump you. Coverage is going to be big. So he can also fill out. He's already 190. I think he could easily, y'all, get up to about 215 playing at safety. Lockdown coverage guy. I can just see it with his skill set. And also, like I said, he will hit you. So I love him playing at safety. He's a guy that I feel like could come in and fight for some starting time, right? Like there's nobody else that I feel like could really, really fight for some starting time that we have left. But he's huge for me, all right? He might be, out of all the players left, he might actually be number one, just as far as I'm concerned, because Tennessee needs safeties. We need real depth there in the worst way. So I don't care what we have to do, but we just need to do it, right? Like I'm perfectly fine with doing whatever it takes to land a player like Moa. So we'll see. I'm not quite sure what his timeline is, but hopefully, he'll be choosing us sooner rather than later. All right, so let's come back, man. Hezzy Harris, he's the next one. 4-star edge. He's currently committed to Auburn. We talk a lot about him. We'll go ahead and pull up his clips. but he has really good size. You know what I'm saying? I could tell that he really likes Tennessee. I was hoping that maybe we could just flip him coming out of this visit. This is the thing, though, y'all. If you already chose a program, it's tough with those post OV interviews to come out and say, "Man, I'm just going to flip," and everything was perfect. You got to kind of, you have to be careful with how you word things. He did say that he's planning on visiting Tennessee. He wants to come up to several games, so he might not be ready to flip at this point. But to who was that? To Charles's point, saying that, well, Tennessee's got so many Leos, we're already loaded there. Like I said, I don't think that that's necessarily true. But if we could add a guy like Hezzy Harris, that would definitely supplement that room some. But I mean, it's still, losing Tristan Gibbons, as far as I'm concerned, that was a pretty big deal. So Hezzy Harris is a almost absolute must-have at this point, and we'll see what probably happens over. I would say probably like over the next few months or so. All right, so now let's talk about some of the players that I feel like Tennessee's in a great spot with. And for all the guys that are in orange, they're all locked in. You know what I mean? We don't have to worry about them. All right, so Brandon Anderson, he was part of this class earlier, and then he opened things back up. It sounds like he's gotten a lot closer with the offensive line coach, Coach E, which is great news. But he also said that Tennessee has one more thing that they need to prove to him, but I think ultimately he's going to end up in this class. So he could play guard or center, really good player. Then we have Braden Rouse. So, he's one of the headliners for this visit. I love his game. All right, I had no idea that he just started playing linebacker, y'all, last season. For him to be as well versed as I'm seeing on his film, listen, he's going to be an absolute and total stud. Okay, so going back to Charles' point, right? We need some more Leos. He's a guy that I think could also play at Leo. 6'3", long guy. He's got everything that you want. Very, very versatile player. And it sounded like Tennessee knocked it out of the daggone park. So y'all saw on our thumbnail that we had the picture of him with his family. He had on that black jersey. That typically means that the players will be locked in with Tennessee. Like we said earlier, the dead period started last night. So the players, if they're going to be choosing Tennessee, they've probably already told them, you know what I mean? Hey, we're planning on choosing y'all. I don't know what his timeline is either. I'm thinking maybe like within the next couple of weeks. It should be pretty soon. He's a guy that if he chooses a school or when he chooses one, I think that he's going to stick with him. I just kind of get that vibe from him, but he would be huge adding to this class. Just very, very good player. So he also plays offense, plays a whole lot of offense. I think that he looks good there. You see his ball skills and all that good stuff. All right, so now let's talk about his teammate, Joel Combe. He's another safety, right? His high school teammate. I think that they'll be future teammates. And he, to me, was like the most, I don't even want to say animated, but he had the biggest smile out of all the players that I saw. Y'all can see his date set there. I think that he's locked in with Tennessee at this point. He's a guy that I think his coverage skills would maybe push him onto the field earlier than like a Craig Tutt. He could also maybe fight for some starting time. And that would be more for me if Mo is not here. I think that they could probably push one another, but his coverage is going to be really, really good. He's a long guy. He will hit you, right? Like you don't play football in the state of Georgia without being physical, okay? Pretty much everyone that comes out of this state are dogs, spelled D-O-G, not D-A-W-G-S, which is the incorrect way to spell that. But yeah, I really like his game, and I think that that'd be huge for Tennessee to add a player of his caliber. Only rated as a 3-star, but at the end of the cycle, I could see him getting his 4-star. Everybody was on him. I think Georgia kind of backed off, right? But Georgia, it was us in Georgia earlier, but I think Georgia kind of backed off because they got so many safeties, already coming to their school at this time. So they probably just didn't have the room to be able to add him. But he's obviously good enough to, I think, go play SEC football anywhere. All right. So next, who we got? So Zay Anderson. I don't have his clips up, but cornerback, sounds like his visit went very well. Okay. He's an in-state guy. And I think that Tennessee is going to end up landing him. I think it's us in Cincinnati. He talked about wanting to do something here pretty soon. It could be by the end of this week. I think that he chooses us. But yeah, we definitely need corners. Like we just need secondary players, period. Guys that are versatile. I see a lot of that in his game. Also, notice that I think he plays at Greenville. When I was watching this film yesterday, y'all, one of the things that I can tell you is that he has natural cornerback skills. Natural. He plays a whole lot of wide receiver. Wasn't too many cornerback clips, but the ones that I saw, it's very natural. My player coming for him would be like Ricky Gibson. I think he might be a little bit of a thicker version of Ricky Gibson. A lot of similarities there, but his coverage should just be absolute lockdown. So he's going to be great, I think, for us. If we can land him, and I would really say when we do land him. All right, next is going to be Darrell Rivers. So Darrell Rivers, he has some good things to say as well. I think he's pretty close to choosing a school. I think that it will be Tennessee. Feels like we got everything going for us coming out of this visit. But I mean, listen, we keep on talking about it. We need guys that can play a tackle. I think that he shows so much length. We talked about it, and it sounds like the staff told him the exact same thing. Hey, you can play some strong side too. So having guys that are this versatile, 6'5", again, really long, he can fill out with his frame, but you see the burst, you see those pass rush moves. I think he will be big for us. Okay, we absolutely need to land players of this ilk. And, I feel very good about Tennessee's chances coming out of this OV. Like I said, we should be seeing something hopefully within like the next week or two. All right, maybe even within the next few days. All right, so last but certainly not least, man, we have Savion Hiter. So let me go ahead and pull up his clips for y'all. So Savion, man, everyone's been talking about it, right? Everyone's been talking about him. Tennessee really wants to land a running back of this caliber. I think that we're in a very good spot. Actually, I felt good coming into the visit. Now coming out of it, I feel even better. Not because Savion said anything, but because we know that there's some issues with Michigan's kind of like handler. You know what I'm saying? That was basically, and that would be Savion's agent. But was basically pushing him pretty heavily to Michigan. I think that that's the main reason that Michigan was up there for him, or was as high up as they were. Now that there's some issues there, and I know that some people, feel like, well, this is probably good for Michigan because they can separate from them. Y'all, that's really not how this stuff works. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I talked to these players' parents, right? I haven't talked to Savion's parents, but I talked to a lot of very highly rated players' parents. And one of the things that they're very adamant with is, like they don't play games. As soon as some funny business is going on, they pretty much like shut them totally out. Like they shut that whole program down. I don't care if it's from the coaches on that staff or if it's from, their handler in this situation. Doesn't matter. That's a very positive thing for Tennessee. And for all that thing, and for all those things to be happening heading into this visit, I know Tennessee pulled out the freaking red carpet for him. The insider said that, listen, Tennessee couldn't have done any better here. I feel great. I think that he will end up choosing us. Probably, I don't know exactly what his timeline is, but I'm going to say, probably before the season starts. So look out at some point next month for him to be pulling the trigger and choosing Tennessee. He doesn't talk a lot to the media, so you probably won't hear him coming out and saying, you know what, Michigan's off my list. But I think that there's a very good chance. I'm going to say about 90% chance that Michigan is just totally done. You don't do shady stuff. Once these parents can't trust you, once the mama don't like you, that's a wrap. So I feel great about this one. All right, now let's come on back and let's talk about this list here. So these are all the players that Tennessee's in a pretty good spot with, okay? Or I would actually say in a very good spot with. All right, so the ones up at the top, y'all can see who we got, right? Those are the players that I feel like they're going to end up going somewhere else. So that column to the far right shows where I think the players will end up at. I do have Tristan Keys in here, and this is one that I literally, y'all, like within the last probably hour or so, I put him back with Tennessee. The reason for it is, coming out of that visit, going to the school that he says that he's, going to end up going to, right? Like he went and visited those guys. I didn't hear a whole lot, right? Like I didn't hear too much. It didn't feel like he's totally locked in. And also I think that because he could flip back and forth all the way until signing day we have all season long, I think that that's going to give Tennessee a much better opportunity to show and prove how our new system, how our new scheme is going to work. And he wants to be able to make plays. We've talked about that for a long time on this channel. The way that the routes are going to look this season, the playmakers will be able to make more plays. He's big on that, but also LSU doesn't have a quarterback in this class. I just think that everything is kind of pointing more towards Tennessee, and I think that he will end up in this class. Darius Gray, I've got him going to LSU, so I'm not sure there. It's possible that he could end up in this class with us too. But let's go on and let me show you a little bit of a better look. So this is all the same players. Y'all can see down at the very bottom, I've got the, player averages for this entire class. I think it's a total of like 22 players. But these averages, so with 24/7 Sports, the average is at 90.71. And last year, our average was at like, I want to say like 91. It was the same thing with On3. So you see that we're up at like an 89. So this class would probably be, I'm thinking maybe like number 15-ish. You know what I'm saying? It's possible that it could be higher than that. Now, I don't think that this is going to be everyone that Tennessee has. I think that over the course of the year, we'll probably find some more players that we need to add at certain spots, right? Like y'all can see that I have us getting 2 cornerbacks. Obviously, Joel Wyatt, I think that he probably going to be playing Leo. One of the things with Joel is, I don't know. Honestly speaking, I'm not sure if he's actually going to end up in this class now, because I just read something that came out from On3. And listening to what he's saying, it's us or it's Vandy. I'm just not too sure, because Vandy's talking about him playing on offense and playing at safety. Excuse me, which is where I think he should. I think safety might be a little bit better for him. Safety, maybe linebacker than Leo. I mean, he can play Leo, but I also feel like maybe Tennessee could tell him, man, listen, you could play some, because Carson Snead's leaving. So listen, you could play a little bit of enforce. I think that he could do that, right? If he fills out his frame, he'd be a tremendous tight end. But either way, we'll see how that goes. So what else we got? So we've got three guys that I think will end up playing at tackle for us. Right. Zach Groves, he's already 240. I can see him growing into a tackle for sure, but he can also maybe play some strong side in. Then we've got a total of, I'm having three edge guys. Really, I'd say that we only have one Leo because Kedrick Golston, he's much more of a strong side in. I don't really see him playing Leo. And CJ Edwards, I mean, he could do either one, but I think he's also more of like a strong side in. He just doesn't have, I don't think, that type of twitch that you see from like a Hezzy Harris or from like a Tristan Gibbons. It's not on the same level. So, then we've got a couple of guys that can play a guard. We've got three linebackers. Like I said, Braden Rouse, he could play some Leo for you. TJ White, he could play some strong side in for you too. He might even grow into a D tackle because he's already very big. We've got a couple of offensive tackles, really, really good players there. Quarterback, of course, Savion Hiter playing at running back. We've got three safeties. Two of those guys that are in orange will be more projects. I think we have one guy that comes in and can really fight for some real playing time. Honestly speaking, in his first year, I hope that we could add Moa too. That would be beautiful. Then we've got three wide receivers, and I think that they're all really, really good. Okay, so I believe that is it for all the information that we have. Now, let me come on back and let me get to some more of these chats, y'all. Let me see what everyone's talking about. Let me make sure. Okay, so people are saying that they can hear us. Thank you so much for that, man. Just always let us know if something's going wrong. All right, so this right here. Okay. Christian Gas. Okay, yeah. So Christian Gas, that's the one. I'm not sure. So I think that he could definitely play at Leo. We got some projects there. I don't know. So Jaden Perlotti, I think that he's going to be a stand-up linebacker. I really, really do. So it's just not as much depth as we've had before. Okay. Jaden, I really see him as more of like a Mike or Will. And he's really like, y'all, he's more of and he can come off of the edge. But I think he's more of like a guy that you, as a linebacker, you could put him in coverage. Like he played a linebacker safety hybrid in high school. Yes, that's high school, but playing at Buford, that's the highest classification in the state of Georgia. If he can cover, because he's covering 4- and 5-star wide receivers, if he can do it there, he can do it, I think, in college too. I know that he's gained a lot of weight. Does he still have the speed and the movement skills? I'm going to keep on saying that, y'all. This might sound crazy. Or very early on, this might sound crazy, but Tennessee might have to go to the portal to add another Leo. I mean, just honestly speaking, I know that we typically only rotate like three guys, but you want to have the fourth and fifth guys. I don't know, unless a guy like Marion Dye, Jaden Lofton, can they maybe turn into Leos? I think that they're a lot more strong side in. And with Marion Dye, he could definitely do it, but I think he's going to end up playing strong side in or D tackle for us at a super high level. So I don't think that the room is necessarily as deep as some people might think. As far as the first guy there, I don't know where he's at. I think that he could be very good. But, I mean, we haven't really seen him play in like a couple of years, so we have no idea. If he takes the step forward, then, yeah, we should be fine. But to say that we don't need Tristan Gibbons, I had to disagree with that thoroughly. Like, I had to disagree with it. So from my dog, Matt SS, saying, Daddy Gum A&M, I'm buying an electric car. Well, yeah, man, that oil money, and, they got some other things going on there, too. And this one is saying, wondering if you saw that Michigan just got a running back commit and if that's a good sign for Tennessee. I didn't see that, but thank you for letting us know. I definitely think that's a really good sign for Tennessee. I'm telling you, I can tell y'all, like, I've never talked to Savion's family, so don't take it that way. But one thing that is very, very consistent with all these players' parents, or I'm going to say for like 95% of them, if they're 4 stars, 5 stars, they can go anywhere that they want to go. They are not playing about their babies, man. Like, if you mess around and do some stuff like that, shady business going on, and really, I wish that I could tell you more, but I had that exact same conversation with a 4-star player's mom not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were set to actually choose a school, cross them off the daggum list because it's like, nah, it's some shady stuff going on. They don't play about that. So I think Tennessee's in a tremendous spot. You know what I mean? From Matt saying that, Michael, that's new to me. I take that as a good sign. Yeah, facts. I'm not saying that he's not gonna be good. Please don't take it that way. I'm not saying that. I think he's got all the talent, but he has to get used to playing football. I felt like from the time that he got here, obviously he played in the NFL Europe thing. He's used to playing different sports. It's different movements that it takes to play football. But from the time that he got here on campus, I saw a lot of growth with just his football movements. Looked a lot more natural. So I think that he could be good. I'm not saying it, but I'm just saying that it's not like a slam dunk that he will be because we haven't seen him play in so long. So you want to be able to bring in always as many real, true, twitchy edge rushers as you possibly can, just in case, because we're going to try to rotate a lot of guys. So Sam is saying, I saw something on the Michigan side saying that they would be taking more than one running back. Yeah, I mean, listen, teams will take, sometimes obviously for every team, every year it's different. Hey, we need to take in two running backs, just like Tennessee last year. We took two backs and we still went out to the portal and added one more. So we actually took three running backs last year. I don't know if necessarily that by itself is a strong enough indication that Tennessee's in a better spot than what we thought coming into this weekend. But I'm telling you, that whole situation with this handler, that's more of what I'm looking at. And if they add multiple backs, then, in which they probably won't, like they'll probably wait to see what is Savion going to do, before adding anybody else. But if they're adding, I'd say if they add one more back, then we could say, man, look, it's a slam dunk that they don't feel good about this situation. And Tennessee's the only school that really is left. I mean, now he might look at somebody else. I don't know, but it was us in Michigan. So if Michigan's crossed off the list, obviously that means that we're in a tremendous spot. So Matt's also saying that there might be some drama with Keys. And honestly, I'm okay with that. He's a stud amongst studs. Yeah, I mean, look, you're going to have to deal with some drama with these players. There's a lot of different personalities coming in. And, it just is what it is. But I think that it's going to end up being fine once he's on campus. I mean, I was sold on him when I saw him in the Polynesian Bowl as a young guy, the first time that the young guys got a chance to play in that bowl. So he was a junior playing up against seniors. They're all, 4- and 5-star guys. He looked really good. He looked like maybe the best wide receiver out there. I think that speaks volumes, about his game. About 6'3", 200 pounds. He's a for sure. I mean, it would be tough for him not to make it to the next level. And I think that he would fit into our system perfectly. Those little scheme changes, like we touched on, is just going to bring us in, more and more really good players. But that's going to do it, y'all. Those are all my thoughts. We'll come back with some more things. Obviously, as we get some more information, if anything does come up, then we will come back and share it with you. But do us a favor, man. Go check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Bluechip Breakdown. We try to post over there every single day, bringing some different news and notes and things like that, just giving you our thoughts on different things. We obviously have a whole lot of content already there. We're still adding content for people who are, like on the paid tiers, but we have content on the free tiers as well. We're just trying to grow it. And also we are on TikTok. We're going to be pulling over a whole lot of content there as well. So if you're on TikTok, go ahead and follow us there too. It's Bluechip Breakdown. Pretty much everything that we do is Bluechip Breakdown. But thank you. Hope that y'all have a great rest of y'all's Monday, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.